everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Caffeinated Souls podcast. I am here with my co-host, Gracie.
Hello.
I am Lewis, and you are going to tell us about yourself, because no one knows who the fuck we are, so we need to intro it. Go.
Hello, I'm Gracie. I don't do a lot with my time, I'll be honest.
True.
I stream on the odd occasion.
Plug yourself.
Twitch.tv/plans unavailable.
Run it up. Do it. Do it.
I read a lot of books. I have a lot of opinions on books. I have a lot of opinions.
You'll be hearing about them, don't worry.
Yeah,
you will be hearing.
I listen to a lot of music.
You do.
I love a good song.
I love a good sing song.
I love a good singy song when no one's home.
When no one's home. Only when no one's home.
But that's about it, really, I think.
I think so.
I'm not that interesting.
We'll get
Back
more
to
into it.
Lewis.
I'm sure we'll figure something out. So yeah, hi, I'm Lewis. I am a fan artist. That's predominantly what I do with my time. I draw men from the block game, and also a bit of Lovejoy, as can be seen by the wall in our lovely little setup, which is actually just my bed. But yeah, I spend most of my time drawing. I'm also at uni doing something far less exciting. I love a good bit of music. I don't read very often, probably should.
Yeah.
My whole life is just taken up by Minecraft men. And do you know what? That's fine. At least I have an interest.
Congrats, you're gay.
I know. Congrats. Congrats to me for being gay. We should probably talk about our relationship to each other. I feel like most people meet each other through the internet nowadays, but we are so old that we actually met the traditional way. The traditional way. We have known each other for 13 years now.
Jesus Christ.
30. We were 7. So for context, Gracie is 20. I am 21. Yeah.
You're 20?
You're 20?
Yeah, that's a little baby girl.
I hate you. We've known each other for a very, very long time. And how we met was actually quite cute. Who wants to tell the story?
No, you can tell the story.
From my perspective, I had just started a new school. I didn't know anybody. This was year 3. What is that in American? I was about to say American time. That's not the word I'm looking for. What grade is that? There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Grade
Is it
2?
Is it? We'll roll with that. If it's wrong, sorry, America.
If it's wrong, hate me.
Okay, yes. All hate directed that way. Not my fault. But yeah, I was like 7. Just moved to a new school, didn't know anybody, and it was that really awkward time where everyone goes out to play, and I was just kind of like, well, sucks to be me, I guess, because I've got no one to play with. And I was just sat in the playground on my lonesome, and then this fucker walks over, and it's just like, you want to come play with me? Yeah. And you've been stuck with me ever since. So sorry about that.
I actually remember sitting on the bench next to you.
You did.
That's a cool memory.
I would hope so. At this point, I would hope I was part of your core memories. I can't lie. I'd be very offended if I wasn't.
You're in a couple, maybe.
A couple? Anyway, moving on before I get very upset. It's been a long time. And a lot of people, I think, assume that we met through the internet.
Yeah.
People that have met us recently think that.
Yeah.
Because we interact a lot on twitter.com.
Twitter.
So I think people assume we met on twitter.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we've just known each other for far too long.
Far too long.
Hence why we've made a podcast. We're so bored of each other now, we have to force ourselves to hang out.
It's great.
It's not. This is the end. This is the trajectory downwards. But you guys get to watch it, so enjoy that. Well, we have lots to talk about. And I think the best thing to start us off with is talking about October, because it's the start of the month still. I feel like we can get away with doing a monthly recap. And October was a very busy month, but also not. It was weird.
Yeah.
So much happened and nothing happened.
It was like an in-between. I feel like a lot of things happened in a really short space of time, but they happened in October.
Real. Very real. What was the first big thing that happened?
Good question.
I think it was meeting Tommy. I think that was the first big event of October. So on the 13th of October, I took a little trip down to Brighton. You took a trip 10 minutes up the road.
I did.
And we went to go and meet Tommy Innit at his book signing, which was an interesting experience. It was a very fun time. I feel like me saying interesting sounds like it was bad.
No.
It was great.
Yeah,
it was really, really good.
Negative connotations now.
Did we? Yeah, I mentioned the fact that I'm in terms UIT. You didn't.
No.
We're in the same
However,
fandom as each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I'm probably a bit more wrapped up in it nowadays.
Yeah,
You've like passed the baton.
I actually have.
You have a little bit.
I'm waiting for you to find a way to get into Val. That's the pipeline.
It's never gonna happen. They want me to play Valorant so desperately, it's never gonna happen. Also, our running gimmick for the podcast is energy drinks. We drink a lot of caffeine, so every podcast we're going to talk about what we're drinking. You've got to yourself
Pipeline punch.
a little pipeline punch, a superior monster flavour. I am poor and at university, so I have a Red Thunder from Aldi, a 6-pack for £1.79. I'm not going to complain. They do taste like shit though, I will say.
Surprised.
Anyway, we went to go meet Tommy in it.
Yeah, we did.
And it was so much fun. I was dubious because the last time I went and did like an actual YouTube meet and greet type thing was probably 2019. For you, it was probably further back than that because my last one was Summer in the City and you didn't go.
Maybe then.
Yeah, I feel like yours was a while ago at this point. So I didn't know what to expect. I was also expecting us to be really, really old.
Yeah, and
because
the queue was just similar aged people.
We ended up stood in front of one of Gracie's Twitter mutuals, which was very fun. And they were all in a similar age range to us, so we felt a lot better about ourselves because we are older than Tommy in it, so we were a bit worried that we were going to look like mums and dads stood there with a bunch of kids. Thankfully we weren't like that, and it was the queue was long. I thought we got there really early. We did not. The queue was already like halfway down the road by the time we joined, and we joined about an hour and a half before it started. Shows the dedication, you know. I don't know why I expected anything less, to be honest. You know, we queue a lot for the Minecraft men.
Just a bit.
Just a tad. This isn't even our worst queuing story of the last month. He was absolutely lovely.
Yeah, he was really
It was
nice.
so nice. We got to kind of say our things and thank him for, you know, getting me back into fan art and you into streaming. That was really nice.
Actually, I forgot to say that.
You did actually, yes.
I
Gracie
had this
just
whole thing.
brain farted.
I had this whole thing planned out of what I was going to say because, like, the Dream SMP, I name dropped.
Uh-oh, not the Minecraft men. It's not like I'm sat here wearing Dream Team merch.
That whole server kind of inspired me to start streaming because it was always something I wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just never did it. So then, obviously, stuff happened with uni, and then I got loads of my maintenance. And I got a PC. And I was like, I'm going to start streaming. I'm actually going to start doing the thing I really want to do. And then I was going to tell Tommy that he was part of that inspiration, and then promptly walked in and went, I can imagine it's been a really long day for you.
The most British thing you could have said to him. And you said it.
And he just looked at me and went, well, it's been really nice, actually. I was like, oh, no.
At least he was really polite. You know, he could have been rude, and he wasn't. It's better than mine. Well, I say this, he wasn't rude to me. Although he did call me a virgin because I wore my merch from the live show that he did in Brighton. I went to that. Because I have no social life, and he promptly clocked the merch and called me a virgin. I did remember what I was going to say to him, and my thing was just kind of similar to you, but instead of streaming, it's fan art, because I started fan art during lockdown because there was nothing else to do, so I was like, why not learn to draw? Did it for the whole of lockdown, and then just got into a bit of a rut where I didn't have anything I wanted to draw. And the Dream SMP kind of came into my life at a good time because I was stressed and sad, and the Dream SMP gave me a reason to start coming up with ideas again, which was great. And I actually got to thank him for that and say, yeah, you guys really ignited my passion to start drawing again. And I have had a really, really good year because of that. So thank you. And that was really, really nice. His handwriting is shit. Can we talk about that?
His hands were also covered in Sharpie. I don't understand how he got so covered in Sharpie.
I am confused. I don't know whether he was...
Like, was he drawing just on himself?
Perhaps.
Like,
this is Tommy we're talking about.
Yeah, true.
That is very, very possible.
Yeah.
But it was brilliant. And we didn't look like shit in our photos, which was something we were stressed about for a while.
I'm growing on my picture more, but when I first took it, I was like,
Yeah, you initially hated it.
I'm just an egg.
No, they're good. We did good. The security at that event were not very nice. I will go on record and say that.
Yeah.
They were very pushy, didn't care about the fact that people wanted to take photos of their friends, which was kind of sucky. I get why, because security concerns, you don't want loads of people in a small space, but if it's one person waiting for their friend, I think that should have been fine. I don't organise events. I don't know the legal mumbo jumbo that goes behind it. There's definitely something. I'm not that
There's
smart.
something I'm missing.
But after we went to go meet Tommy and It, you came back to my house.
I did.
And you came and stayed in London for a few days, which is where we are right now. We're in my apartment.
Yeah.
And that was lovely.
Yeah, that was a really great weekend, actually.
Then it ended on a bit of a sour note for you, because me and one of my friends who lives here with me went to go and see James Marriott at his second show at the Comedia, I think that's how it's pronounced, in Brighton. Wee-oo, I said the incorrect name. Gracie didn't get a ticket. Gracie didn't get a ticket, so you had to just leave us in the queue,
I know.
which made me feel really terrible.
I actually nearly cried on the train on the way home because I had so much FOMO. And I was like, oh, I'm not bothered because I know he's going to do more shows up until the day. And then
It was crap.
Yeah, and it was just awful. And I went home and I went and sat and by my PC and my mum was like, what is wrong with you? And I went,
I'm not at Jimbo.
Nothing, I'm just not seeing James Marriott right now.
Oh, I felt dreadful because the morning before the gig, we went down to Brighton really early, and it was me, Gracie, two of my friends who live in this building with me, and one of our Twitter mutuals, the one that was behind us in the Tommy queue, all met up and spent the day just like going around Brighton, and it was so much fun. But because we'd had so much fun, and then we were getting in the queue, I felt really bad just being like, bye Gracie,
Yeah,
get home safe. I felt so bad. But at the same time, that gig queue experience was horrendous, not because of the people. Everyone we met was fabulous, but it was shitting it down with rain the entire time we were waiting, and we were in the queue for 4 hours. We were so cold and so incredibly damp. It was not the best. If the weather had been fine, that queue would have been beautiful, but I was just quite grumpy and very cold. That wasn't brilliant, but the view we got in the gig was worth it. Me and my friend that I did go with, me and my friends, we were one row back from barrier, even though there wasn't a barrier, but we were behind people that were seated for the gig, so we just had a complete clear view of the stage, which was fabulous, and the show itself was incredible. Cannot explain how fun that was, and I'm so excited that you get to experience it soon. I'm so excited. It was fantastic. The set was just, and I got to go with a friend who I have known for 4 years, and we met because we were fans of James, so it felt like a very like full circle moment in my life in a way. Not to sound like a complete
Everything
sappy
comes
twat,
full circle.
but it really did feel like that. I felt like such a soppy twat on the day, but I was like, it really does feel like a bookend on that like period of my life, which was really cool. We got to go meet him afterwards, which was lovely. He was lovely as always. I've met him once before in 2019 at Summer in the City. And he was lovely then, and he was just as lovely now. And we got to thank him, and he recognised me and my friend, which was very cool, because we were very, like, well known in his space back in the day. We've kind of, like, drifted away from it. Back in the day of 2018, we were quite well known in the space. We've kind of moved away from it now. But the fact that he remembered us was very wild. My friend took it a lot harder than I did. I was just like, oh, that's really cool. My friend burst into tears, not to call them out on the pod, but they did, and they won't mind me saying that, will they? It's fine. It's fine. And I got him to write out a new tattoo that I'm going to be getting soon, which is exciting because I love Car Lights so very much. It's my favourite song, probably one of my top 5 favourite songs of all time, actually.
Really?
I love it that much. I relate to that song a lot.
I love the bridge. I adore the bridge.
It's so good.
Like, just the screaming. Like, I feel like if I needed it, I could go into a park really late at night and just scream the lyrics of that song, and it would be really cathartic. It
is like therapy. When I heard it live, I am like, the second James started singing, I burst into tears to the point where my friends were like hugging me from both sides because I was just breaking down in the middle of the gig. And then when it gets to the screaming, oh dear. I feel so bad for everyone that was like around me during that because I've ruined all of their videos. I've ruined everyone's footage because I screamed so loud. It was like a demon took over me when that song was playing. Have I actually played it to you?
No.
It's awful. I'll play it to you after this. It's really, really bad, but worth every second. But still, sorry to anyone's videos that I've ruined. And then we had, we had a bit of time off from things happening. And then we went to the Lovejoy Halloween show the second night.
The Concord 2.
The Concord 2, which looked like an absolute shithole from the outside.
It did.
We were walking up to it. It was me, you, our friend that lives here, who has donated everything for this setup now.
Yeah, this quality is not lasting.
This won't stay.
This is not lasting.
It's only downhill from here.
It is.
So stay for the vibes, I guess. Don't stay for if it looks or sounds good, because it won't last. But thank you for giving us your setup. We appreciate it. And two of our Twitter mutuals all walking up to the venue, and we were just like, this place looks disused.
Yeah,
I think
it's because it was like in the cliff.
The venue's embedded in a cliff.
It's like embedded in the cliff, and then there was like scaffolding all above it as well. So it looked like it was actively having work done to it.
Yeah, I think if there hadn't have been people already queuing up for the show, I would have completely walked past it and been like, no, this is the wrong place. There's no way I would have assumed that was the venue.
No, me neither.
But inside, the venue was lovely, actually. So looks can be deceiving. Yeah. But we got to that show stupidly early. We got there just before midday.
Yeah.
Doors didn't open until 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, with those people. But
I will only ever be that person for a general, like a standing event though.
Yeah.
Like if I have tickets for something and it's a seated event, I will not queue for stupid amounts of time.
I will get there 5 minutes before.
I don't know why people do that.
I will get there 5 minutes
I don't know why
before.
people do that.
It's so stupid.
Like, I'll be like an hour early, max, just to make sure I can get merch if I'm desperate for merch before the show starts. That's it.
For me, the only people I would queue that long for now is Lovejoy. I don't think I would queue for any artist for that length of time now. I say this, we're planning on queuing really early for James.
Yeah.
Lovejoy and James, those are my only exceptions to the rule.
Also queuing really early for Chase Atlantic.
You are, but that's Chase Atlantic.
Real.
But yeah, we thought that we were getting there stupidly early, which we were. Objectively, that is ridiculously early. Yeah. But there were people there from 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And honestly, more power to you. If you queued for that bloody long to get into that show,
if you're not that committed to get the front row,
you deserve barricade more than anything in the world, because that is ridiculous. Could never be me. I say this, if I lived closer, probably.
Yeah.
Or if I had a car, probably.
Yeah.
But alas, I do not. Plus, I think I would just get so bored. I really would. But the 7 hours we were waiting didn't feel like 7 hours.
It was so strange because it felt like it went forever, but it was also
really short.
Really short as well.
It was so odd. I think it's because we were with quite a few people. It made, like, there was never, like, really a big lull in, like, conversation. Everyone was always doing something.
Yeah.
Because I only had to charge my phone once.
I don't think
in the, like, 13 hours we were out of the house. Yeah. That's not bad going, considering my phone is horrendous, because iPhone batteries, they don't last. But yeah, mine lasted a pretty long time, which I was not complaining about. Synchronized sip. The show was unbelievable. James was the support. So it was Gracie's first time seeing Jimbo perform live, which was really fun.
It was almost religious.
Yes, it was. Even though he was dressed as Scooby-Doo.
And he barked.
He did bark and did shout Raggy very loudly before he sang any songs. This is a James Marriott hate account. This is going to be the We Hate Jimbo podcast, because what the fuck?
It's not. He's so low. I love
kidding.
Jimbo.
Love him, but my God, I really wasn't expecting him to scream Raggy into the microphone.
Raggy!
It was cursed. That is the one word for it. What was your favourite song that you saw him perform?
Grapes. It's got to be Grapes.
Grapes. Very good choice.
Grapes is like... I'm 90% sure that Grapes might be my number one listen to song this year.
Really?
Yeah, genuinely. It's...
Number one.
It's like...
It came out in, like, July.
I know.
Wow.
it is crack for my brain. I love that
Fair,
song
honestly,
so much.
real.
Like I could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and still
Still
be hungry.
That's a review. I could eat this song for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Genuinely, it's just so good, and I was really that was probably the one thing. Where Has Everyone Gone was really good as well.
That was fab. He opened with Where Has Everyone Gone, which was a very good decision.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know some of the older songs that he performed.
That's because you're not an OG.
So when he performed them, it was like great to hear them live.
Yeah.
But I also had no idea what the fuck was going on.
And then there was just me like screaming every
much.
lyric.
Pretty much.
Because I remember when Jimbo released Slow Down. That's how long I've been about.
See, Slow Down was so good.
The reimagined version of Slow Down. Wow. Like, even though I'd heard it before at the first show, it's still like a what the fuck moment when it switches up. If you haven't seen videos, if you've not been blessed enough to go to a Jimbo gig yet, find some on Twitter, on YouTube. I don't know where you're going to find them. Maybe TikTok. They are incredible. It's so good. Yeah. What was your... Out of the ones so which ones didn't you know? Do you even know the names of them?
I didn't know Slow Down. I didn't really know Gold. That's on the new EP though, so...
That hurts me. That really hurts me.
I think
it did come out a long time ago though. That was released ages ago.
And from the new EP, I kind of really just focused on Grapes for a really long time. It was like I did one listen to the whole album, and then Grapes kind of stuck with me. And then I stuck with Grapes. So there was a lot of songs that I was like unsure of, but I still really enjoyed listening to them live, and I did end up going on a bit of a deep dive of his music afterwards.
So should.
All's well and ends well, really.
I think my favourites is obviously Carlights. I really loved the fact that this time around he let the audience do the screaming and then did it himself. He did it twice. I think that was probably a good idea. Yeah. I think that felt like just for me. Yeah. That felt like a Lewis go for it moment because I did yet again. My videos of Carlights. I'm gonna one day I'll listen to that song live and not desecrate it by screaming over it. But that day was not the day for it.
That day is a very long way away.
I also love the old music. It holds a very special place in my heart. I love Calling. I love Him. Oh, it's such a good song. It's so good. Calling is one I particularly love. I couldn't tell you why, but I really, really do. So that was really fun to hear live again. And Sleeping on Trains goes off live as well. I think that's underrated when he performs it live.
Yeah, that was really good.
And also, we haven't spoken about the absolute preciousness that was Beetlebug. We had never heard of Beetlebug before. I will be honest, I didn't know their music. I'd never seen them on like Spotify or anything. But
I love
wow,
Beetlebug so much.
How precious was that set?
The voice as well.
Oh my goodness. If you've not listened to Beetlebug, change that.
Yeah,
I promise you won't regret
change
it. If you take one thing from this podcast and listen to Beetlebug, fuck Jimbo, fuck Lovejoy, listen to Beetlebug. Genuinely. Because when they do shows, we're going. I don't even care if I don't know any of the songs.
Real.
We have to go.
Yeah. It was
so pretty. It gave like Cave Town energy, but in like the best possible way. And I'm a huge Cave Town fan, so I was living for it. And it was just fabulous. Interesting like tonal shift in styles of music between Beetlebug and then James. But I feel like it worked.
It really did.
I can't explain why it worked, but it worked.
It worked really well.
Now we need to talk about the main event. Lovejoy themselves. My God.
Insane.
I will cry. I actually will. No, I'm not going to. I'll be brave. I'll be brave about it.
Be a brave little boy.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what it was about that show. I think it was because it was a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
Depending on what we've kept in, I would just say it's not our first time seeing them.
Yeah.
And the energy in that crowd was such a big shift between the last time we'd seen them in the best possible way. That crowd was so hyped. Everyone was screaming the words back at them. It was beautiful. Yeah. So well done, Concord. You snapped.
Call Me What You Like.
Are we allowed to say the name of the song?
I mean, it's been put on Twitter by update accounts, so I assume it's...
What, the name of the song?
Yes.
The videos?
No, the name of the song.
Okay. We'll keep it in. Call Me What You Like is a new unreleased Lovejoy song that they played, I assume at both of the Halloween shows.
I think it would be... Yeah, because someone DM'd me and told me about the new song.
Did.
But they didn't tell me the name.
They did do that. Oh my goodness.
Lovejoyers who have not heard it yet,
Prepare.
you're not ready.
Prepare yourselves.
You're not ready.
I wish I could play it. I wish I could play it on the pod, but they have asked people not to release videos of the song, and I will definitely be
I
upholding
will
that.
always respect that.
But there is a really specific moment within the song which caught us completely off guard, and we just both turn around to each other and go, "Hello."
Yeah, I can hear it in the back of both of our videos.
Just hear each other going, "Hello," and then you can hear me quite quietly go, "I'm so gay."
You can hear that in mine, really loud.
Sorry. But I said what I said. That's all we can really say about it.
Yeah.
Review from us.
Oh,
it's
so good. It's so good.
What if you had to compare it to potentially another song that's out?
By Lovejoy.
Yes. Because I would go for The Fool.
Do you know what? For that one
specific
bit, The Fool. It makes sense.
We are those annoying bitches. We're not going to tell you what we're talking about. We're going to talk about it. But yeah, I would compare it to The Fool. But I would even hazard to say better than The Fool. I'm going to go out and say that on record.
Ooh.
I would say better than The Fool.
Do you know what I'm going to wait for a studio version of it before I make that
fair, but when
decision.
The live version is better, in my opinion, than the studio version.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out, but that's my hot take of the day. It's so good. But I don't even want to talk about that anymore. I want to talk about my personal highlight of my life that occurred at that gig. They played Model Buses. And oh boy.
Not the Model Buses.
Oh boy. For context, Model Buses is my top listened to song of all time on a music account that I've literally had for about 7 years, and it is my top listened to song of all time.
Jesus.
I have lyrics from Model Buses tattooed on my arm in Wilbur's handwriting. I love this fucking song, and when we had seen them previously, it had not been on the set list, and I was quite sad about it, but I also understood why, because Wilbur had said on several occasions that it is quite high in his vocal range,
Yeah.
so he was a bit ummy and ahry about singing it live.
It does seem like it's...
And I had lost a bit of hope, to be honest. And I managed to avoid all spoilers for the gig. Up until we were sat in the queue
Yeah,
and sound check happened. Because they sound checked Model Buses. And my body stopped functioning for about 30 seconds.
I think the best part of the sound check was Fairly Odd Parents, though.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
You just randomly hear Wilbur going, "Oh, parents, Fairly Odd Parents."
It was it was a weird sound check to listen to, but when Model Buses started playing in the sound check, oh my god.
I'm pretty sure you nearly cried.
I did cry quite a lot.
No, you had mascara on, so not mascara.
Eyeliner.
Eyeliner.
Yeah, and then it ended up collecting because the tears were pooling. I don't think they fell, but they were there.
No, they didn't.
It was very emotional, and I was like, I'm not going to make it through the actual performed version of this now, because I had to turn around and go, is it actually on the set list? Because I was worried that I was going to have the biggest bait and switch occur of my life, where they sound checked it and then didn't perform it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I knew from the day before though that it was on the set list.
I didn't know.
I'm so sure that I told you that the person who DM'd me
No, you didn't.
told me that they
I told everyone.
performed every single song on the set.
I told everyone to
released.
not to tell me anything about the gig because I wanted to be surprised.
Can we also, Phil,
That was aggressive.
for The Fool?
We'll get there I'm talking about Model Buses.
Sorry.
Let me have my moment, dear.
Sorry.
That was the queerest thing we've ever done. Anyway, Model Buses. So yeah, I didn't know it was going to happen until soundcheck. It's okay, dear, it's okay. I didn't know it was going to happen until soundcheck. And then not only did they play Model Buses, but a certain Jimbo Mazza came out and performed it with them.
Yes.
Which I also, funnily enough, didn't know was happening.
Yeah.
So I had, you affectionately soothing me on one side. I had my other friend's hand on my shoulder. I had my other friend's hand on my elbow. This just makes me sound like I've got so many friends. But basically, a lot of people were trying to make sure I didn't have a breakdown. It didn't work. I was screaming and actually wailing. I don't think I've ever wailed in my life before. But there's a bit of me in the first 10 seconds of the song gearing up where you literally just hear me go, "What the fuck?" I was broken by it, and it was so good.
Yeah.
Oh boy. That was a huge moment in my life. Probably the highlight of my year. Honestly, just that 3 minutes was the highlight of my year. But now we will move on to what you just said.
Okay,
So Phil's a Minecraft.
Yeah. When they came on for that encore...
Which I was not expecting an encore.
Yeah, me neither, honestly.
Until we sat there and went, hold on a minute, they haven't played Perfume, Concrete or The Fall.
Yeah.
There's no way it's over.
Yeah,
that was the only reason we clocked it.
What did they perform before The Fall?
It was Perfume, The Fall, then Concrete.
Yeah. So they performed Perfume, and then Wilbur, what did he say? He said something like, Phil's a Minecraft, if you're in the crowd, there's a microphone to the left of my foot.
Yeah. And we were like, okay.
I was really confused as to why he was suddenly giving Phil a microphone.
Please tell the listeners what you thought was going to happen.
I said, if this is a pregnancy announcement, I'm going to kill myself. Because I've never heard Phil sing before.
No,
so I didn't think that he was just going to whap out a singing voice out of nowhere.
Did you not think, Wilbur's had Tommy up on stage to sing before. Maybe that's what's happening.
No.
Did that thought not cross?
No, it just didn't. It just didn't because I don't know. I just didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he went on stage and then he screamed the bridge.
It was
down his microphone with Wilbur,
magical.
And it was so cool.
It was magical.
It was so fun, funky, and fresh.
I don't know which moment I preferred. I don't know whether I preferred Tommy singing Sex Cells or Phil singing The Fall. Because those were both elite moments.
Yeah. They were like
on par with each other, honestly. Because I think I cried more during Sex Cells. Yeah. This was at another show. Tommy didn't come up to sing Sex Cells at this show. But Tommy has sung Sex Cells with Wilbur at a gig. And it was very emotional for me. I cried a lot. But with Phil, it was just very hyped. Mm-hmm. Like in our videos, you can just hear us screaming like, "Go on, Phil!" We were very excited.
It was great.
We love Phil's and Minecraft. We really do. But it was just, it was fantastic.
It was great.
What was not fantastic was getting home. Because the trains decided to strike on the day.
It wasn't a strike.
Oh no, it wasn't. It was just everything going wrong.
Yeah.
I thought it was a strike.
No, we had to get a connecting train after we got out of Brighton. We had to get a connecting train from a different stop closer to where we had to go, and they cancelled the connecting train just before we left Brighton,
which was the last one of the day.
Yeah.
So that was very, very fun.
I ended up having to panic call one of my friends to come and pick us up. Which she did.
God bless, because we would have been very, very screwed had that not have happened. But I was on such a high from the gig that I just didn't care. I was like, if we get stranded here for 5 hours, who cares? It'll be fine. It was just, and we finally have Lovejoy merch. Can we talk about that? Mm-hmm. Proper wearable Lovejoy merch. Because we have posters from one of the shows we went to, which I love. Hence why there is an entire wall dedicated to them in my apartment. But I love wearable merch. Yeah. I have such a soft spot in my heart for wearable merch. We have an obscene amount. It's very bad. But I can't stop myself. Yeah. And as soon as I found out that Lovejoy was doing merch, I was like, I will buy 20 items of everything. I didn't. I behaved myself and only got one. It was good. But we made a bit of a scene because me and our friend went up to go and buy the merch on behalf of everyone in our group. So we just rocked up to the guy on the merch table and just went, "Can we buy 6?" And he looked very confused and quite scared. I think it was when we started saying different sizes that he was like, "Oh, you're buying them for a group." Yeah. And then we turned around and James Marriott was stood behind us. You know, it was
average.
Lovejoy gigs are weird in terms of content creators. Yeah. Not weird as in like, why are they here? But it's just so casual. Mm-hmm. They're just gig goers like everyone else. Yeah. Well, to the more mature amongst the crowd, they're just watching the gig like everyone else. Yep. So yeah, October was a very fun month. Very, very happy with that. And November is shaping up to be not as eventful, but we do have a James Marriott gig on the 21st, which is extremely exciting.
We also have a Minecraft Olympics watch party.
We do! We have managed to get, what is it, like 6 of us?
Yeah, I think.
All into my building to come and watch MCC, which is very exciting because usually it's just me and you sat with some snacks, just watching it on our own. So it's going to be weird, but very cool.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too.
Who's going to win?
I don't know.
I have faith in Jimbo.
I don't.
Jimbo Mazza supremacy.
I don't.
No, I don't, but I'm going to pretend I do. Just so that I don't feel terrible for slandering him, because I've already said I hate him about 4 times in this episode. I don't want to do it again.
Well, you've done it now.
I think we should move on to your little segment. So we're going to have individual segments throughout these episodes. And would you like to explain what your segment is, Gracie?
Basically, I love books. I established that at the beginning of the episode.
You did indeed.
I love books a very large amount. What I don't love is Colleen Hoover. So every week I'm going to talk about a book that I'm reading at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also going to make a point about how much I hate Colleen Hoover books. This week, I'm reading Unravel Me. If you don't know what it is, it's the sequel to Shatter Me in the 5-book series.
Is it 5? I thought it was 3.
No,
That's
it's...
how much I know.
Well, technically, actually, it's a trilogy and a separate duology, but it's the same story.
Oh, okay.
I haven't got very far in this yet because I have a lot of uni work, but I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't a massive fan of Shatter Me.
You weren't. You did not approve.
I think I managed to read the entire book in around 2 hours. I know I read fast, but that was a bit too fast.
Just a little bit.
You know?
Because it's a similar size to this, no?
No. It's less than 300 pages, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
But I read it. I wasn't massively impressed, but I have got it on good authority that it gets better
Yes.
the more you read. So I'm giving it a go. I'm trusting the process. Something I won't ever trust the process with is a Colleen Hoover book.
Real.
Terrible writing. Just awful.
Say it how it is.
I don't understand how anyone can sit there and be like, wow, this romanticised abuse is great. I love reading this. I don't know how they do it.
Real.
I won't ever do it. I read It Ends With Us on holiday and it ruined my holiday. It ruined it. It ruined my fucking holiday.
Are you going to tell them what the name of the segment is?
It's called the Colleen Hoover Hate Corner.
The Colleen Hoover Hate Corner. This is
Yeah.
going to be a weekly segment where
It
you just
is.
get to chat shit about Colleen Hoover. And honestly, I'm not going to stop you.
Well, I probably will just talk more about the books that I'm reading and probably give recommendations and be like, I like this book, I'm not a fan of this book, I DNF'd this book.
Do you have a recommendation to give to the people this week?
Ooh.
Even if it's something you read ages ago. Just drop a little rec.
The Cruel Prince.
Okay.
I read that a little while ago. I say a little while ago, I finished it like maybe 2 weeks ago.
For you, that's a little while ago in terms of
Yeah,
reading.
it's...
You read a lot.
I do. Yeah, it did take me a little bit to get into the story, but it's always like that for me if I'm starting a book that is a series, because I always
Especially
find...
fantasy books.
Yeah, but I always find that with a series, it starts much slower.
Yes.
It's like if it's a singular standalone book,
It's very quick.
it's in, you know?
It's in.
Yeah, I find that with a series it takes a little bit to get into what they actually want to accomplish with the book, kind of thing. And I did find that a little bit with The Cruel Prince, but I did also I really did enjoy it. So
Did you rate it on Goodreads?
I did not. I don't have a Goodreads.
Shameful.
I know. I do, however, have a Literal, which
That's
is...
an app you've recommended to me.
Yeah.
I just
it's
don't
really
read
cool.
enough. I love reading so much, but I predominantly just read queer fiction because I am a gay. I love a bit of queer fiction, but my degree does not leave me much time to read books. So
I'll be honest, mine
it's sad
probably
time.
shouldn't leave me as much time to read books as it does.
It's fine.
But
We just let you do what you want to do. It's fine.
yeah, I love a good book.
You do.
And I've recently got really into fantasy, so
You're
I have
loving
so
good
many fantasy books at home. My TBR is like
Enormous.
20 books
It's bad.
at this point. I think it might be more than that actually, because I bought some more
Bought some more.
a little while ago.
We need to stop Gracie buying books. That's what we need
Well,
to do.
I've put myself on a ban.
Yeah, we'll see how long it lasts. We'll update you weekly on whether the book ban has stayed in place. We will shame you live on the podcast.
I don't think it's going to, but
No, neither do I. I don't have much
my
faith.
mum has a meltdown every time I go home with new books. So, yeah.
Because they buy so many.
But yeah, Unravel Me is the book of the week.
Let's hope it's not book of the week next week.
I don't think it will be book of the week next week. I mean, how many pages is it?
Let's have a book check, page check.
474.
Oh, you'll
It won't be
get
book of
through.
the week next
Better
week.
not be. I'm holding you to that now.
It took me
we've all
like
got this on record.
5 days to read A Court of Silver Flame,
True.
which is nearly 1,000 pages.
Very true.
So I don't think it's going to take me a week to read that.
we move on to my segment.
Yes.
I'm not too sure what I'm actually going to discuss in this segment this week because we wrote the plan out for this podcast today.
Yeah.
So this is all very scuffed, as you can probably tell. But I want to talk about queer things because I am in fact a queer. I should probably specify what flavour of queer I am. I am a trans man and I'm also very, very gay. So I know a lot about queer spaces and trans spaces because I don't do much with my life. So I just keep tabs on everything that's going on, especially in London. The only real thing that is coming to my brain about queer stuff that's happened this week is the fact that our government is terrible. So I'm kind of tempted to go on a slight politics rant.
Do it.
Do you know what? Let's go.
Sips Red Thunder.
Fuck the Tories, first of all. Because Rishi Sunak, who is now our Prime Minister, for how long, who knows, because at the rate our government is going, could be out next week.
Probably.
We'll never know. He wants to try and remove trans rights from the Equalities Act. And that basically just means that transphobia will be no longer a criminal offence, which is quite scary. Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen.
Considering I feel like it's really lowly policed as well. Like, transphobia in general, I feel is really lowly policed as it is, even though it's in...
It's not well policed, and 95% of people who experience those kind of crimes won't go to the police anyway because of how bad it is. Yeah. So it just does perpetuate the problem. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it will get passed. I really hope this doesn't come back and bite me in the arse later. I don't think it's going to get passed because if they start doing that, then other bigots will start wanting other people's rights removed, and then it will get to a point of, oh yeah, but not those ones.
Yeah.
So it would just cause too many logistical issues. Again, I'm not a politician, so I don't know. But I know that there will probably be protests in due course.
Oh yeah.
Which will be a good time. I mean, it won't be a good time, but I do partake in a good protest. Not ones where people super glue their asses to roads. Normal ones in parks where we don't disturb anybody because we don't want to interrupt everyone's days. Just the Tory party. Yeah, I can guarantee that there will be protests for that very, very soon. I've not been to a protest in a while, actually. The last one was Trans Pride, which was in July.
Oh, wow.
It's been a while. There's just not been much because the government's been so chaotic.
Yeah.
They've not really had time to attack our rights, so it's kind of overdue. Well, it's true. Am I wrong? Am I lying?
No,
I'm
you
not.
didn't have to say it like that.
I can say it. I'm allowed to say it. I'm angry, I'm allowed to say it. But that's essentially all I have for Queer Corner this week. There will be more as time progresses because I need time to actually think about what's happening in the world. Our final topic that we actually have established, if we go off, we can just carry on. Mm-hmm. We are, well, I say we, mainly me, are very active on Stan Twitter.
Oh.
We love and hate Stan Twitter at the same time. We have been a part of Stan Spaces online probably since we were about 11, maybe even earlier. Not that I can remember. I think it was about 11.
Yeah, it must be.
So a long, long time. We have seen them evolve. We have seen the primary social media for these things move around. It's been very fun to watch, and now it's also simultaneously a hellscape. But I could never part from it. I have tried several times in my life to go, you know what, I'm going to grow up, I'm not going to be a Stan account anymore because that's for children. It's not. Don't get into that mindset.
Yeah, like...
Who cares?
Just enjoy the things you enjoy and don't feel bad about it.
Real. That's one thing you can take away in any aspect of your life. Just enjoy things.
You know, like... Things are there to be enjoyed. These creators that have massive followings don't create things so that they can be not enjoyed.
Yeah, like kept by certain age groups.
Yeah, exactly. It's not how it works.
Because I remember, so Gracie is the person who introduced me to the Dream SMP and MCYT in general over a Starbucks because we're proper scary adults. We're not. So you introduced me to it. And I think one of the first things I said to you was like, I am 20 years old.
Yeah, that was what you said.
Yeah, I was like, I am 20, how can I be into this? But I only have that opinion about myself.
Yeah.
Because obviously you've been into it for years and I've never been like, grow up.
I'm also...
I just have that, like, in myself.
I'm kind of also... I feel like a lot of adults who are adults in these spaces that are predominantly particularly online, that are predominantly, you know, minors or people under 18, I feel like a lot of those adults in those spaces are just feeling their inner child.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't feel like I'm an adult in a child space. I feel like I'm me in my space.
Yeah.
You know? Because I watched Minecraft content specifically so much when I was younger.
Oh yeah, and we were Minecraft stands early on in our lives.
And it was such a safe space for me when I was a kid. That now that I'm kind of adulthood's kind of smacked me in the face and turned and like held me up by my fucking shoes. I don't know.
That's one way to put it.
It's kind of like I've gone back to that because it's always been a safe space. It's always been there and readily accessible.
Absolutely.
And I feel like you can't kind of sit there and judge other adults for doing essentially the same thing that you are, because I feel like a lot of adults will feel the same way. You know?
I think a lot of adults just won't let themselves kind of feel that way about things anymore. Which is really sad. I mean, because, again, I was very dubious about, do I bother watching this? Am I going to enjoy it now? Because obviously I loved Minecraft when I was younger. But I was like, am I, as a 20-year-old who, you know, lives on his own, pays his taxes, am I going to enjoy this anymore? Turns out the answer is yes, very much yes. And I was worried about being an adult in those spaces because for a long time while I was watching, I wasn't tweeting about it or posting on Instagram, nothing like that. I was like, I'm going to keep this between me, myself and I and you. Same thing, basically. If I'm saying I'm not telling anyone, they don't count. I didn't want to get into the spaces online because I was very much under the impression of it's all just minors. And that's not the case.
It's really not. I actually...
Think about how many people we are now friends with who are adults.
Yeah. I feel like I see a minor on my side, on my account. I feel like I see a minor on my timeline maybe once in a blue moon.
Yeah, it's not very often.
I don't know, especially in these kind of spaces where it's really easy to find people in your age range because of how popular these things actually are.
There's so many of us.
There's so many of us that it doesn't feel like it's unnatural to be involved in it.
No, like I don't sit around and feel old.
No.
When I go to events and stuff. I think the only time I have felt like that at all was maybe at the Hope and Ruin show for Lovejoy when there were kids waiting outside the venue.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the only time where I've sat there and gone, damn, I'm getting too old for this. But then again, that was an 18 plus event that people brought their kids to try and get into, which was very dumb. So that was kind of like a major outlier.
Yeah.
Because I don't think if I went to like a Twitch con or something like that, I don't think I'd have that kind of experience because I would be hanging out with my adult friends.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd get into that kind of like mindset,
it's also kind of the thing of like, yeah, I'm an adult who enjoys this content, but it's an adult who makes the content.
Yeah.
Like no matter how family friendly the content is, and no matter how kid friendly, yeah, exactly, it's still a grown up. It's still a grown person behind that screen that actively plays and enjoys that game.
Exactly.
And, you know, so it's kind of like, I don't know, I can't justify feeling bad about myself when the person I'm looking up to is doing the same thing.
Absolutely. You've summed that up so well. I'm actually quite shocked. I think another thing with like this space in particular is I don't think I've ever been part of a community where I've been so close in age to the people I'm watching.
Yeah.
Because shall we admit what our big stan thing was as children? Shall we do it? Shall we tell the pod?
It was.
We'll trust you, pod. We were Dan and Phil stans for many years, and obviously we were considerably younger. I say considerably. The age gap between myself and Dan is 10 years.
That is considerable.
Well, it could be worse. It's not like we were 15-year-olds thirsting over like 40-year-old men.
No, true.
You know, it could have been worse, but that's still quite large.
Yeah.
But it's like the people we regularly watch now are
to like
2-3 years older. Well, George and Phil are like the oldest ones.
Wilbur as well.
And Wilbur.
I was like 26.
Yeah. George and Wilbur are both 26.
And that's like
Phil's
6 years.
Like 30 something.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically. I don't really care. But that's still not a considerable leap in age.
No.
And it's like the two people I watch most regularly, one is 6 months older than me, and one is 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
I've never had that before.
No.
Which also almost feels quite nice.
Yeah.
Weirdly. I can't explain why.
It feels nice to be so close to their ages because, I don't know, I feel like
relate to them more now.
Yeah. And, I don't know, I feel like it's easier to engage with the content when you know they're, like, almost the same age as you.
I think it's nice to watch people where you're like, oh yeah, I could like meet these people in a pub or like in a bar, like in a social setting, because it's like when we were kids watching people who were considerably older, there was no eventuality where anything would ever like cross paths. But it's like, especially now, especially with like the gigs and stuff, the Lovejoy shows, content creators fucking everywhere. Like when we were trying to get out of the first Lovejoy show, Tommy just like, held the door open while we were trying to get out because I was on the cusp of fainting. Like, it all feels more like, it feels more personal even though these people's audiences are so huge. Yeah. I don't know whether that's just because of where we live.
It might be, but it's all, I feel like...
Because we live in fairly close proximity to Brighton, which is now kind of the Minecraft capital of the world, which is very weird to think about. Yeah. It is the Minecraft capital of the world. There's a lot of Minecraft YouTubers there. And people say that Brighton is a bit like a walking VidCon. They are correct. They are. I wish it was a joke, but it really, really isn't. There are just,
they're just everywhere.
Just everywhere. But we love
that. The spaces feel a lot safer. Now that I'm so close in age to the people that I watch, I feel much safer in the communities. Because I think by default I assume that a lot of the people I interact with are going to be around the same age. Yeah. Because when you're kind of in that space and you're older or younger, and like considerably older or younger than, you know, the main audience or the actual creator, I feel like it can feel very, not lonely, but
it can be isolating.
Yeah.
It can be isolating.
Like, because there's just such a gap.
Because I think when I went to go and see Tommy's live show, I was like, I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb because I'm, 2 years older than Tommy? 2.5? Yeah, 2.5. 2.5 years older. And I was like, oh, people are going to think I'm really strange for coming to watch this. And it's like, realistically, I just like the guy's content. I just think he's funny. And it was a very, very good show. So I don't regret it. But I was worried about kind of feeling a bit like pushed away from like chatting with people in the queue because I was like, everyone's going to be younger, so I'm not going to want to talk to them. I'm not going to sit and make idle chat with a 14-year-old. Like, not going to happen, funnily enough. But I think we got quite lucky in the fact that myself and my friend, we ended up in a kind of swarm of people who were all over the age of 18, and we were all feeling old, and then we all realised we were the same age as each other and went, oh, we feel considerably less old now. Yeah. It was lovely.
Yeah. I think the sense of community is stronger when you're an adult. Much stronger.
We all stick together. Us oldies have got to stick together.
Yeah, because it's like, I feel like you deliberately seek out the people that are similar, especially in those online environments. Yeah. You deliberately seek out the people that you know you're going to relate to the most within that community.
Absolutely. I feel like as well, our fandom experiences, specifically now, being in the Dream SMP, MCYT side of things, are quite different because I'm in the art space and I feel like they're kind of separate from each other. Not completely, but there is definitely a line. And I find that most of the artists that I see regularly on my timeline or that I'm recommended are adults, which I think makes my life a bit easier. Yeah. Because I don't have to really, really dig to age check people. Yeah. Which is quite nice because most people will just have it in their bios. Put your ages in your bios. There you go.
Or at least a range.
Yeah, or a range if you don't want to put your specific age.
But like short, like a close enough range that it's not like, oh, I could be 13 or I could be 18.
Yeah, don't do
that. I
don't
know. Because then by default I'm just going to assume you're 13 and then I'm not going to interact with you in the slightest. It's not.
Put an age a close age range or just your actual age.
But I have this thing, right? I feel like a lot of people who become content creators, right, are in some capacity at some point a stan, right?
I think especially now.
Yeah, especially now. And I don't feel like that's a bad thing.
No.
Because, not to name drop, but you know when Gab had that whole thing
Yes.
on Twitter, and then she got bullied into deactivating her Stan account because she was, you know, she was able to be a content creator.
Yes.
And she had amassed a bit of a following from the events in like the week or the days prior. I feel like they were wrongly bullied out of an account that they had made their safe space to talk about the things they were interested in.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, unless you're deliberately trying to become a content creator specifically just to interact with the people that you stan.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
weird.
that is a bit of an issue, and that is a bit parasocial.
Yep.
But if it
happens naturally, fine.
Yeah, you know? But I feel like you aren't entitled to pushing someone out of their safe space just because they now create content and do in some capacity have the ability to get to a point where they know that person personally.
Yeah, I think that's unfair.
I think it's unfair. I don't know, I don't think stans need to be shit on as much as they are for becoming the creators that they want to be.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that on their stan accounts they had people that they really looked up to and really inspired them to make that content.
Yeah, why would you
know?
want to get rid of essentially the origins for your new career path?
Yeah,
Why would you want to do that? I don't understand. I don't understand
Exactly.
why anyone would shame someone for that.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know,
I think you've got quite a good perspective on this as someone who is now entering the content creation scene.
Yeah, because I did have this whole thing a little while ago where I was kind of like, I want to interact with things that I'm interested in and that I do stan on this account, because I don't think I should be pushed out of that space just because I'm creating that thing now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's fair on me.
It's not.
You know, I don't want to not be part of that space just because I make the content.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like it happens less now. Like, I do see a lot of stan accounts, particularly on my timeline, that are stan accounts, but they are also streamers or YouTubers and stuff like that. But I just think that, you know, even if there's a link there, you don't have to lose a space where you're free to talk about your own interests over a space where you're meant to be like more professional.
I would completely agree.
You know?
I think the way you kind of run your shit at the minute is good. I think the system you've got going is pretty good. Can we say what your kind of system is?
It's just private.
Yeah, essentially private Twitter for the more stan stuff, and then the public account for streaming, which you should follow, by the way, because the links are on the channel. Follow our Twitters, follow the Twitch, follow my Instagram, please. I need validation. And I think for the content creation side of things, I think that's a good way to do it, because it doesn't make you feel forced to leave anywhere.
Yeah.
I think with fan art, it's kind of different. I don't have that kind of quandary in my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do think, oh, do I make an account that's literally just for posting my art, and then have another account where I can tweet out like, oh my god, George Not Found is pretty. Like, sometimes I think about separating them, but then at the same time I'm like, what fan art is for stands. That's kind of what it's for.
Exactly.
Why can't they be in two places at once? Because I do find sometimes if I go, say, a week without posting art, and then I'm tweeting about the people during that time, I will lose followers.
Yeah.
And that kind of just makes me laugh more than anything, because it's like, okay, you're liking when I draw these people, but when I talk about them, you don't like it. It doesn't. I hated that, by the way. That doesn't make sense in my brain, but whatever, you do you. But yeah, sometimes I do think about separating them, but then at the same time I'm like, that would kind of be a bit silly and defeat the point.
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like when you going back to content creation.
It's alright, go.
But particularly when you get to a point and you're like relatively successful, I feel like it's okay to be like, yeah, I've outgrown this kind of behaviour because I'm in this position now.
Can I give a hot take? I think the time to stop having a stan account is when you start getting some for you. There we go.
Good.
That's my hot take.
That is a good point.
As someone who knows fuck all about content creation, and as someone who has not set up any of this and is just editing it, I think that's my hot take. Once you start having accounts dedicated to yourself, maybe it's time to take a step back from those spaces.
Yeah. Because as well, like, I don't think a lot of creators understand that although it's really cool to be involved with your community, sometimes you're just infringing on the safe space.
Yeah, there's a line.
Especially when people are talking about you and then you kind of make it known that you're still present is kind of step away.
It's like putting a glass to the door when two people are having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't concern you, hence why the door is closed.
It wasn't about anyone in particular, by the way, before people start assuming.
Nope,
but
we're just making very general statements because we talk about all this stuff a lot.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, we talk quite a bit.
We do. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna... Like, it's okay to, you know, still interact and be involved with your community because everyone wants a community that they can interact with and is really close-knit and, like, is really cool and fun. But when it gets to a point where it's, like, almost walking into someone's room without permission. That's like just the only way I can put it is that you just, even though you are the creator that these accounts are dedicated to, you can still infringe on the safe space through your interactions online.
Absolutely. I don't think I've ever seen it happen.
I don't think I've seen it happen, but I feel like it's something that could.
It's an eventuality that people would need to think about 100%. Yeah. I think especially if you have also yourself been raised in stan culture, because it's the line could get quite
the
blurred.
line's very easily blurred when you've been around it for so long. Especially
if you're at the stage where you're relatively small and you're at a stage where you can directly respond to every positive bit of attention you receive. You know, if someone tweets out going, hey, I love your content, if someone leaves a comment on a TikTok or a YouTube video, you can directly reply to those people, to all of those people, up until a certain point.
Yeah.
And I think if you get really, really into the habit of doing that, once you start losing that a little bit, you're like, well, at least I can just listen in on what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Can't reply to everyone, but at least I can just keep checking. And I also think that's how creators just ruin their mental health.
Yeah.
By just constantly listening into what is being said when they're not there.
Yeah, pretty
so
much.
to speak.
Yeah.
I think kind of rule one of content creation, don't check your indirects. I can't, this is coming from someone who is not a content creator. I can't understand why anyone would feel the need to do it, but at the same time I can.
Yeah.
I can understand the whole,
I want to know what people are saying
what's the
about
general
me.
consensus about me in the public eye, but also you're going to make yourself sad.
Yeah.
Because there will always be one knobhead. You could be literally a guardian angel walking amongst humans and you would still get someone going, your hair's shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen no matter who you are, no matter how big you are. And it's only going to get worse the more people grow. So it's kind of like, emotionally detach yourself, please. Which is why I'm here as your therapist. To make sure that doesn't happen. That was a brilliant conversation. I enjoyed that very, very much. We've covered a lot today. More than I was expecting, actually.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, we're going to run out of things to talk about in 15 minutes. I dread to think how long we've been going for.
I don't think I even want to know.
I'm proud of us.
Thanks.
Go us. Well, I feel like this is a perfect time to end. Thank you so much for watching this episode. This has been so much fun. We are probably going to try and upload these every Saturday.
Maybe this one a bit early.
This one will go up earlier. I'm thinking before Friday.
Yeah.
That's my goal. Hold it to me if it's not up by that point, because I'm the one editing it.
I'm the only one that can hold you to that.
True. But shout at me in the comments if it's not up by Friday. But after this, it will be every Saturday. We will probably tweet out specific times, so follow the Twitter. Follow the socials. They're all linked on the channel.
Yep.
And we will see you guys next Saturday with a new episode. Take care. Bye!